Joe, I got to tell you, I rewatched a movie this weekend.
Okay.
A 2024 movie.
Okay.
A movie I've seen before. I liked the first time. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, I liked it even better the second time. I was freaking rolling in the aisles watching this movie at home. Amy and I were watching it together. My wife, we were like rewinding scenes two or three times. Like it was freaking Step Brothers. Like, oh, that was such a funny line. Let's rewatch it three times.
So you just freaking loved it upon...
We were having a blast with none other than Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, baby.
Come on.
Come on. Joe, there's a scene in Megalopolis I don't think we talked about when we reviewed it where John Voight, the world's richest man in the movie, owns a bank, and then Shia LaBeouf is his bad nephew. And there's that scene where Coppola had to get all the characters in the movie into the same place at the same time. So he came up with this like public event about the future of the city in which everyone's like walking on like rickety catwalks and there's like a model down below.
It's very late 2010s theater aesthetic. Stripped down catwalks, everybody's like moving in and out of the scene. Of course I remember that, Brett.
A great scene, just one of the many just unique, brilliant just stagings in the movie. And John Voight and Shia LaBeouf are walking along this rickety catwalk, and LaBeouf is like Nepo baby. He's a fashion designer, but he like wants to run the biggest bank in the country, you know, eventually. And so he's trying to butter up John Voight, who owns the bank, and he walks sort of the movie. He like flows through the movie like this, Shia does, and he's like walking along the catwalk like this. And then John Voight is expressing concern because he's heard a rumor that Shia LaBeouf is fucking his sisters. And so he goes like, I don't know, I hear this rumor you're fucking your sisters. And then Shia LaBeouf, without like stopping his like slinky little moves, he goes, rumors, Grandpa, rumors. And then he keeps moving. And it's just, we watched that like 5 times.
That's
Shia
amazing.
LaBeouf saying, rumors, Grandpa, rumors.
One of the great movies to quote. They don't make a lot of quotable films anymore. Megalopolis quotes. Dude, there's like 10.
Megalopolis is like Caddyshack. It's like it's so quotable. People, I think still people don't know what this movie is, and I'm gonna lay it out there, Joe, because now having seen it twice, I know what this movie is. I know what this movie is.
Tell me.
It's one of the funniest movies of the year.
Okay.
I think this movie is going to age like a fine wine.
Now we're
Joe.
talking.
Much like the wine that Coppola used to pay for the movie.
Yeah.
Megalopolis is going to go down as the great like gonzo social satire of our times. It's going to be our Strangelove. It's going to be it's going to be Trump era's Dr. Strangelove. It is a comedy. It is intentionally a comedy. It's a very funny comedy. Its ambitiousness is part of the joke. That's what I realized this second viewing. The ambitiousness of the project and of the ambition of the characters in the movie. That's all. Like ambitiousness is part of the joke and the satire of the whole thing. The bigness is necessary, for the movie to work. So like I realized too why he paid, knowing he's not going to get that money back, why he paid like $100 million to make this movie, because it was the only way to make the movie, because it has to have size and scope and bigness for the jokes to pay off and work. It all clicked for me on the second viewing, and I liked it the first viewing.
You gave it 5 stars.
I liked the spec. I liked
the first viewing you gave it 5 stars.
Now I'm giving it 6 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
I like but the first viewing, I just loved the spectacle of watching it in a theater with people, and like we're all just shocked at what we're seeing. But it really started to actually work. I think this movie is not just a sort of what a funny, crazy thing that old Coppola did. I think this movie works. I think it works. Maybe not in every individual moment, but like in the aggregate, in the total vision, I think this movie works. It will not get nominated for a single Academy Award, but it might end up on my end of year top 10. And mark
you
my
gave it 5
words,
stars, and now you're giving it 6 out of 5 stars.
There's a lot of great movies this year, Joe.
Okay.
A lot of great movies. It's a good year for movies. Megalopolis, though, mark my words, I'm saying it now. Let me be the first to say it. Won't win any awards this year. It will definitely get votes in the next Sight and Sound poll. We'll definitely get some votes in the next Sight and Sound poll. You don't think Megalopolis is going to show up on a couple people, Spike Jonze's list next time?
Right.
Even just people who like owe Coppola a favor.
Michael Bay's list.
it will end up on
it
will 100% end up on some Sight and Sound ballots next time. And
it should.
I think it should. I think that's what Sight and Sound's for.
It should be represented amongst the films mentioned.
Yes.
Why not?
So Joe, my question for you is, what are going to be your... I mean, we've watched a shit ton of movies this year, and a lot of them, I'm so grateful I will never have to watch them again. But what are going to be the movies for you that you rewatch from this year? The ones you revisit, the ones you go back to? What do you kind of have like hanging around in your stable from this year?
There are some that we might have been sleeping on that I just want to shout out. A movie that I've already rewatched twice. It's important, and it's my first one that I thought of. It was The Beekeeper. Beekeeper's always available for
Jason
rewatch.
Statham in The Beekeeper.
Any day. Watching The Beekeeper's always, like from this year, like as the years go by, we're going to be returning The Beekeeper. I'm going to rewatch Cuckoo. Everybody knows it's my fourth ranked horror movie of the year. I want to rewatch it, to make sure it still is as good as I remember it being.
It's high on your...
And I also want to rewatch it just in case it's not like my favorite horror movie of the year. I think about that movie. I like that movie very much.
Hunter Schafer showed up. We're going to talk about the award nominations that have started to come out for some of the smaller award ceremonies. Hunter Schafer showed up. I think it was the Spirit Awards got a nomination.
You're kidding.
So Cuckoo has not been forgotten. Not been forgotten. I mean,
I'm happy to hear
it's been essentially forgotten. But,
not by me.
But,
not by this podcast.
Not by you. Not by
this
you.
podcast.
Not by you. I still have to see it for the first time, which I will. It's on my list.
Yeah. Well, maybe my rewatch will be your
there
first.
There we go.
A movie that we already rewatched together, but unfortunately I'm going to rewatch again. Brett, it's really making a case. I'm afraid it's going to sneak into my top 5 movies of the year.
Wow.
Alex Garland's Civil War.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely love that movie. Okay. We'll be rewatching that again. And then
and I did rewatch that. I watched it a second time.
I know you did. Thank you.
And
it's amazing.
Rescored it. I think I moved it up like half a point. I thought it was slightly better the second
excellent.
time.
And when it comes to rewatch, this one I know to be true for me, you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Furiosa is a rewatchable flick.
Oh, I like that.
We're gonna be rewatching Furiosa down the line.
I'm gonna rewatch Furiosa
quite a bit.
I'm gonna rewatch Furiosa.
Like Dune 2 is a movie I'm interested in rewatching this award season because I really like Dune 2. I mean, Dune 2 was great in so many ways, and it's gonna get nominated for Best Picture, and I don't want to I have to revisit it for that moment. But really, when it comes to like me in 5 years, I'm not going to be watching Dune 2 personally, but I'll certainly be throwing on Furiosa.
Furiosa is rewatchable because of its sort of like chapter structure. Like you can watch like I'm thinking in my head, I was like, tonight I might just rewatch like the opening action sequence. Like
sick.
It has just those those long set pieces that you can almost rewatch individually,
and it has infinite. Not Easter eggs, but like it's just designed so beautifully and intricately and so depthfully, so deep. Like I watched it a second time. There's like 800,000 little this and that beautiful things in that movie that you miss, and I'm excited. I love that. I love that world. I love George Miller.
One of the most underappreciated movies of the year.
Movie.
I do wonder if Furiosa is a prime example, and this could be subconscious. This could be an actual conspiracy going on. I feel like movies, even like critically, they get punished when they underperform financially.
You bet your boots.
Yeah, and it must just be the subconscious sense of a film has lost, or a film is like is down. It's trending down. But like that shouldn't affect the critical appraisal of it. But I think it definitely does because Furiosa I don't think has been properly rated this year.
I agree.
I thought it was very
which is
good.
why
I liked it better than Fury Road.
I love that take. I think it's great. I did rewatch it. I'll be revisiting again. I wonder if in 10 years we look back at the year and everyone's like, how's that not on everybody's top 10?
Yeah.
Classic kind of movie.
Much like Megalopolis.
You
know what Megalopolis is best? Its purest antecedent, the example that came before, Mulholland Drive. I think Mulholland Drive is like the template for what Megalopolis is.
You think it's going to have Mulholland Drive is quite the cultural touchdoone.
Not initially. I remember when it came out, it was divisive and sort of like I don't remember. And I mean,
people hated it because of some of the thematic stuff and some of the violent imagery.
Yeah, and I'm sure people sort of misread the sex as exploitative or something.
Yeah. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah. But no, I think it will have I don't know if it will reach the heights that Mulholland Drive has reached in its like reappraisal period, where people are naming it the best film of the 21st century, and Sight and Sound had it in the top 20 or something, or I don't think it'll reach those heights, but I think it will have the same arc. And it's a similar kind of movie, like a late stage, big, misunderstood comedy satire from a aging master.
I love the angle. It is a very funny movie.
Yeah.
Thank you for sort of reframing that. Because everyone was like, oh, it's such a self-serious philosophical thing. Like, there's plenty of that, but it is also very funny. Like, Aubrey Plaza's cast, because she's a comedic actress, and she's really funny in the movie. Her name's Wow Platinum.
Wow Platinum.
Oh, that's John Voight's very funny in the movie. It's a great funny movie. The last one on my like things I'm going to revisit as time goes on list is a movie that was very bad, but there's no way I'm not going to like show people clips of this movie for the rest of my life, and that's Quaid's Reagan. Never forget Reagan.
Oh, Reagan is
never forget
Reagan's
Reagan.
a big
Reagan's the kind of
rewatchable.
movie you're with
Yeah.
your friends, you're hanging out, and you're like, well, you never saw Reagan? And he's like, no, of course not. It's like, wait, there's this one part when he like prays with Kissinger, or no, that was Nixon. Whatever, some great moment in Reagan, and you're gonna want to go on YouTube and show your friends. You know,
dude. Robert Davi was Brezhnev. Like it's
and John Voight again, another Voight classic.
John Voight,
another Voight classic. He plays the Russian.
He's KGB.
He's the KGB
adjacent,
agent that respects Reagan, and the story is him remembering he just was a man.
Our truest opponent.
The Gipper. That movie.
The only reason the Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore is because
Gipper.
of one man.
That's what the movie's
Oh,
about.
and we forgot Scott Stapp as Frank Sinatra.
No. Reagan's definitely worth
Reagan
throwing
is a
on and
rewatchable
showing
movie.
your
Absolutely.
friends. Yeah.
That's a great list. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Now, do you have any movies from the last? Because we're about to get bombarded by what we are told are the best movies of the year. You know, when you look at Oscar Power Rankings, it's a lot of movies that are about to come out. So I
Brutalist, Queer, Sing Sing. We haven't seen these films.
We haven't seen these films. I have a belief that our top 10, our personal top 10s, are about to get very crowded.
Correct.
But looking back at this little sort of lull period, September, October, November, any movies from this last 3 months that are new possible additions to your year-end top 10?
It's a good question. I've said on this podcast last week, the main contender in my mind is Steve McQueen's Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
I might take that one to the end. I've been thinking about Blitz even more this week. You compared it sort of to Hugo in the sense that it's this like very well-made, beautiful epic that ultimately can appeal to, you know, children and families, and is sort of a broader tale, unlike Shame and Hunger and these like nasty, freaky, beautiful art house films. But I was thinking about Blitz, and like I think you're right in the sense that like Blitz really like Steve McQueen secretly is the successor to like a Spielberg. Like Blitz had the like grandeur and of a Spielbergian sort of war story, but it also had the Spielbergian like every like 3 shots just like a fuck you, look how perfect this shot is shot. You know what I mean? Like it really had that, and I was just very unexpected from McQueen and the way that he handled that material. So that's definitely high on my list.
He's almost like a reverse trajectory Spielberg, where like Spielberg starts out with Blitz-esque movies and then matures into Schindler's List, where McQueen almost had to sort of like, let me broaden a little bit. Let me bring it down. Let me widen the net just a little bit.
The scope of the film and sort of the heart of the movie, like in the way that it kind of focuses on a child, also reminds me of some of that Spielberg-y stuff. Another movie that came up in the past 3 months. I know I'm not going to be able to mention it at the end because it's a short film, but I do have to shout out a short film that fucking cracked me up. Is Corey's by Connor O'Malley and Dan Street, the director.
God. Sure.
It's a short film. You can watch it tonight on YouTube. It's like a surreal Connor O'Malley written comedy about a Connor O'Malley character, and then it goes all crazy and kooky. It's so funny and so good. And Connor O'Malley and his crew are always like up on it. They have this movie Rap World that's been going around to these theaters. I haven't seen that yet, but like I love Corey's. I love Stand Up Solutions, Connor O'Malley's YouTube special this year. Of course, I'm the demo. I'm the boy my age who, of course, likes Connor O'Malley, of course. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the man is killing it. And I've watched a ton of stand-up specials. Stand Up Solutions cracked me up, and I thought was innovative in all the right ways and funny in all the right ways. And Corey's was a great short film that was pretty inspiring. So I wanted to shout that out.
I think these are eligible for our top 10. I mean,
no, they
these
totally
lists
are.
are wide open now. You saw Art Forum just named one of our company shows, Very Delta.
That's right.
As the best television show of the year. I cannot agree more. Congrats to Delta Work.
Congrats to Delta. Congrats to Margot. Congrats to Camille, Dipper, Doug, everybody that works on Very Delta.
Yeah, according to Art Forum, our company made the best TV show of the year. That's great. That's pretty cool.
We love that. Cool. So yeah, cool. And also Very Delta. Very Delta's on my top 10, even though it's a TV show, even though it's a YouTube
Very Delta
show.
is one of the best movies.
That's one of the best movies of the year.
I also have to shout out in the chat, Foe Fo brought up maybe the best rewatch of this year.
Oh, what?
Trap.
Yeah.
Trap.
Never not going to want to rewatch
Trap.
Yeah.
Because you know why Trap is a good rewatch? Because, like,
Tight.
Smile 2 would be a good rewatch if the jump scares weren't so good. I'm just like, because like
Too
on a
scared to
rewatch, I'm
rewatch?
just going to be like, I got up for the first watch. Now I got to get up again for the second. But Trap doesn't really have any huge scares in it, so you can sort of, it's like a relaxing horror. Oh, yeah. Cool. I could rewatch Trap.
But honestly, Brett, like I liked Wicked very much. I don't know if it's going to be in my top 10. Like I truly loved Wicked. It was a treat. But yeah, you know, the first half of the year had a bunch of really important movies to us, and it looks like the next couple of weeks are full of these movies we've been waiting to see, Brutalist, etc. You know, of course, I like the Nora, etc. That might be on the top 10 list at the end of the year for me. Like, you know,
there's a couple like early
though.
award season movies, like a Nora, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those. Corey's and Blitz.
That's good. For me, I thought I've already mentioned it, but the Outrun with Saoirse Ronan, I think is a candidate for my top 10. The one I just mentioned, I think Smile 2 was one that blew me away over the last couple months. Yeah. But yeah, I think now we'll really see what this year is made of when we get into these award season.
This isn't a best picture, but just to say it in this conversation, Brett, I just want to reiterate how much in the past couple of months, when it comes to performances, how much I love Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice.
I know.
You know, that's not a best picture movie, and we talked about that on this podcast. But in the past couple of months, when it came to things that I thought rose to the level of award season for real stuff, I'm disappointed that.
We'll talk about. I think again it was the Spirit Awards, maybe there's one of the nominations that just came out where he to me is the clear front runner in the category. Great. I would love to see him get something for that performance
because now we're in the beginning of award season, and now all these little big but little awards on the way to the path.
Gotham,
Oscar,
Independent Spirits, New York Critics Circle. Yes, we'll get to that in the movie news section. One last word on Coppola before we kick the show off. Our dude Coppola is already at work on his next movie after losing somewhere in the vicinity of $100 million of his own money on Megalopolis. He's already going. Apparently, he spent Thanksgiving with his family and then flew to London to start production on his next movie. You gotta love this guy,
as you know.
And his next movie is an adaptation of the Edith Wharton novel *Glimpses of the Moon*, which I'm not familiar with.
Which the populace is
craving for more Wharton.
You know, I have a really
after Scorsese's Age of Innocence and that terrible Ethan Frome adaptation.
I have an embarrassing Edith Wharton story.
Please.
I shouldn't say this, but since this is the live stream, I'll just let you know. Maybe we'll keep it in the pod. I was at Edith Wharton's house.
Okay.
And we were like looking through all the rooms.
And this would be in New York, Washington Square-ish?
No. This was her like upstate.
Her upstate.
Her big upstate, her like palatial estate upstate.
Okay.
And we saw like the rooms and the grounds, and we were really far.
What did you do?
Well, the house was sort of like closed up because it was kind of winter, and we were like well in the backyard. I took a piss on Edith Wharton's tree in the back of her yard in her house.
That's fair game. I wouldn't feel bad about that. We can leave that in the pod.
And then I walked
I thought you were about to say on like her sofa.
No, but I had a bathroom emergency at Edith Wharton's house, and I had no choice but to like pee on the grounds. It was awful. My wife is still mad at me from it. Sorry, you can cut that. That's not good. Us staying on top of it material. I'm sorry.
I think it's a great story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
You publicly urinated at Edith Wharton's historical home. Yeah, I truly think that's fair game. I think that's fine. I think almost any as long as you're not like exposing you weren't like trying to go 2 for 1 and also do a little public exposure. You were just urinating.
I just looked very privately, had to go to the bathroom at Edith Wharton's
I think that's
backyard.
fine.
Right.
I think that's fair game. Right. Well, anyway, this Glimpses of the Moon adaptation he's working on, I am so excited because Coppola describes it as a strange 30s style musical. You know, his first musical since One from the Heart, which you love, and I think is very good. This is where I my freaking I was in Looney Tunes, smoke coming out of my ears, my heart's
Big
in my
eyes.
He said it's inspired by Leo McCarey's The Awful Truth, Joe, which is my personal favorite of the screwball comedies of the 1930s. Hey. This is Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. I think it's one of the most slept on of the screwball. It doesn't have like the wackiness of Bringing Up Baby. It's maybe not as just like laugh out loud funny as His Girl Friday.
Crazy take.
But it is just fucking. It's just that Cary Grant, Irene Dunne comedy sophistication, just
You and
at like
Coppola.
the highest level. It's just so good. I
You're
love The
operating
Awful
on a
Truth.
Coppola
I think The
level.
Awful Truth is great. And you get like, dumb old Ralph Bellamy in it. You just get some of your favorite side characters too. So Coppola doing Edith Wharton inspired by The Awful Truth. Sign me up, baby.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
No notes.
The only thing I'm worried about is now I don't know if I can squeeze in. I don't know how many Megalopolis rewatches I can screen in before this thing comes out. Because then I'm going to be on to Glimpses of the Moon.
Wow.
This week on Movies, baby, I know what Hollywood's thankful for this year. Moana 2, Wicked, and Gladiator 2, and the cornucopia of cash that they earned over the 5-day holiday weekend. We'll be talking about that. Plus, we saw The Piano Lesson. I've got some new streaming recs for your holiday season. Award season is heating up, Joe. We've got a lot to get to, so let's not waste one more second. You ready, freak?
Yeah.
And Margot, roll that theme song. There it is. I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby. But how about you? Do you have it bad too? I hope that you do. Whenever one ends, it's like the death of a friend. I get to wishing that there were 2 more reels. And then a voice cries out, "Move, baby, you're in my seat, and you don't want to mess with who the Philly movie freak."
I can't get enough movies, baby. No, I can't get enough movies, baby. Oh, yes, it's true. Oh, I've got it bad too.
He's sick.
Whenever one ends, it's like the
That's
death
my
of
line.
a friend. I get to fish and there were 2 more reels. Cut
to black.
Roll credits.
Whoa, baby.
I'm lost in a fog. I need someone to talk to.
Hi.
Look, it's the Georgia movie dog. The Georgia movie dog.
I can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies, baby.
Welcome to Movies, Baby, the weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the future of Hollywood. My name is Joe Cilio, a.k.a. the Philly Movie Freak, here with, as always, my friend, Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog.
Go Dogs! 8 frickin' overtimes, Joe. That's how long it took Georgia to beat Georgia Tech last Friday. One of the great college football games of all time. And a strong candidate for the last thing that I'll be thinking about before I die. But we're not here to talk about college football. We're here to talk movies, baby. And before we get to the money, which is where we normally go,
Show me the money.
I want to issue a challenge to our viewers and our listeners, Joe. I don't think I ran this by you. This is maybe not on the outline. Okay. Nope. Well, as you know, Joe, and I know you know this, Twitch streamer and the king of all media, Kai Cenat, just concluded his month-long Twitch stream known as Mafiathon 2. We were watching a bunch of the highlights yesterday.
Yeah.
He was live 24/7 for the month of November. He had celebrity guests dropping by. He's doing jackass pranks.
Right.
He's watching Mr. Beast videos when he gets bored because he's online 24/7. He got interviewed by Nardwar. Mafiathon 2 had more viral moments than your average Gen Z influencer could manufacture in a lifetime.
Wow.
And most importantly for Kai Cenat, it generated 727,700 new paid subscribers for his Twitch channel.
What?
Yes.
700,000 paid subscribers?
Smashing the previous subathon record of 326,250, basically doubling it. And you know, a subathon is a Twitch thing where each new subscriber you get extends the length of the stream. So it's like that's the game. Is the more subscribers, the longer he has to go, up to a limit, up to a month, I think. And at a price tag of $4.99 per month to subscribe, that means Mafiathon 2 generated somewhere in the vicinity of $3.6 million for Kai Cenat's Twitch channel, 20% of which went to build schools in Nigeria. So congrats to Kai and that whole team over there at Mafiathon 2.
Yeah.
Now, why am I bringing this up, Joe? This has nothing to do with the movies.
Well, because it rules, and it should have been on my top 10
Honestly,
of the year.
Mafiathon 2 might be in my top 10
might be in the top
movies,
10.
Yeah. Movies Baby, the reason I'm bringing this
Yeah.
up is because Movies Baby is also in desperate need of subscriptions. Except these subscriptions, I'm not talking about Patreon for now.
Okay.
Just for right now, I'm not talking about Patreon.
You're not. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about free subscriptions.
Okay.
And we only need 100 of them. Okay. So
on
Kai
Patreon.
got 727,000
On YouTube.
paid.
Okay.
I'm talking about 100 free. Okay.
Okay.
This is YouTube. And so I am proud to announce, though, Kai did Mafiathon 2. I am proud to announce that for the month of December, Movies Baby is putting on a monumental subscription drive, the likes of which haven't been seen since Mafiathon 2 last week. We're calling it Midlife Crisis Fest 8.
What the fuck is this?
Midlife Crisis Fest 8, the true successor to Mafiathon 2.
I'm 30. Wait, what?
Look, I hope you live a long life. But let's be honest with ourselves. This feels like midlife. This feels like midlife, right?
I'm an old soul.
That's right. Here's what Midlife Crisis Fest 8 is and what it entails. All you have to do to participate, and you're gonna want to participate. All you have to do is go subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's free. It's a great way to keep up with the show. We put clips on there. We put stuff on there we don't put anywhere else. We put up like little top 10 videos there that don't go anywhere else. We got clips up there every week. You're going to love it. Also, I don't care. You're like, ignore it. Like, all I need you to do is subscribe to the channel, please. And here is why. Because we are only 100 subscribers away from being able to monetize on YouTube, Joe. And I want to do this by the end of the year. I want to go into my break and be able to sleep at night because I know we can monetize on YouTube.
We need
100 money to pay for the show
on YouTube.
That's it.
By December 31st.
That's it.
100 more.
100 more.
So starting right now, 100 more.
And we need to get to 1,000. And right now we're like a little bit over 900.
All right.
We always lose like 4.
This is eminently doable, you realize. Okay.
So please, I am begging you, make our Christmas a happy one.
Midlife Crisis
Please. Midlife Crisis Fest. Midlife Crisis Fest 8.
And I love this art because it's like it's the Goodfellas poster.
Yeah, with Kevin
Costner. But Kevin Costner from Horizon
yes.
is whose head is that usually?
That's
Leota.
That's
De Niro.
De Niro.
Okay, De Niro's that.
Yeah.
Anyway, great. I didn't know about this, but I obviously agree that we want more subscribers. Let's do it, baby.
Good.
Let's do it, baby.
I refuse to accept defeat.
Are we going to stream for till it happens?
We don't have to do any of that shit. These are free.
We don't have to do anything.
Like,
got it.
One person out there while they're watching the stream could just create like 90 burners on Gmail and subscribe with each of them.
They could. I mean, if they're a good fan and they care about the show, they could.
You could put Midlife Crisis Fest 8 to bed tonight, and then I don't have to talk about it anymore. But look, let's play it fair, okay? Because I don't want you getting tracked down by the YouTube police, okay? Let's play it fair.
We want 100 pure subscribers.
We need 100 subscribers. So if you're listening, tell your friends, tell your family while you're at home for the holidays. Grab their phones, subscribe them up. It'll be great. And then your family gets fun little alerts when we put content.
And then they'll know what we thought about, the piano lesson.
Yes, they'll know how much we hated their favorite movies. Yeah. They're gonna love it. Margo, show me the money. Oh, well.
Dang. Look what the cat
Well. It was somehow even bigger than we thought it was gonna be. And no, I am not talking about Jeff Probst's penis. Look it up online. We saw it today. I'm talking about the box office returns for the Thanksgiving 2024 weekend. Now, before we get into the specifics here, Joe, let's review the stakes going into this weekend. What were the stakes? Because stakes were high.
Yeah.
Stakes were high. We knew it was going to be a big weekend with Moana 2 premiering and Wicked and Gladiator 2 entering their second weekends. You don't get this kind of three-headed monster, often. This is a rare thing. So there were a couple records in play. Specifically, the highest grossing Thanksgiving weekend of all time, which previously was 2018 with $315 million in combined ticket sales. That was in play. And then also the biggest individual Thanksgiving opening ever was in play, previously Frozen with $125 million in 2019. Now, our predictions last week were that Moana 2 would become individually the biggest Thanksgiving movie of all time. It's kind of a safe prediction. And then we said that $315 million was a bridge too far. Mm-hmm. We said we started doing the rough numbers. Like there's no way. Mm-hmm. We had Wicked coming down to like 60, 70. We had Moana at like 130. We're like, there's just no way it can get to
130 was huge. 130 would have been what Frozen 2 got. in 2019
Would've been huge.
on the same frame.
It was huge.
Yeah.
One of the biggest movies of the year.
Right.
It would have been huge. Well, both records got smashed, obliterated, blown to bits, dispersed to the farthest winds of the world, Joe.
Yeah.
Collectively, this Thanksgiving weekend's box office was $420 million. 420. We didn't think it could get to 315. We were
wrong.
Nah. 420.
Yeah.
420. And then Moana 2 easily became the biggest Thanksgiving movie of all time, making $221 million over the 5-day weekend, way over projections, an absolute smash hit. And when you add in the international markets, it did $389 million opening weekend, making it, wait for it, the biggest animated movie opening of all time, beating Inside Out 2, which set the record previously this year, but it beat Inside Out 2's record by like $100 million, Joe. Remember when we were like, could Moana 2 do Inside Out 2 numbers?
I do. It was last week, and no, we were wrong.
It can, and then some.
It can,
and then so much more.
Can I mention how maybe this happened?
Yes, please.
Okay, so first of all, Moana, as we probably said on the podcast, is the most watched piece of anything on Disney Plus ever, okay? It's the number one most watched thing on the entire platform. So they were going to make Moana 2 as a TV series for Disney Plus, but Alan Bergman, Bob Iger, they decided, no, Moana's a good brand. And Alan Bergman, Disney co-chair, his whole thing at running the movie studio is we're going to rely on our IP, right? We're going to take our classic IP. That's what we're going to make into movies. He took Moana 2. They made Moana 2. And then, Brett, they put a preposterous amount of marketing dollars behind Moana 2. They had $120 million globally for P&A. That's print and advertising. $120 million on P&A alone. It had $20.5 million on TV spend. And it had a partnership campaign valued at $100 million with brands everywhere. If you were outside in the past month, you probably saw a branded integration for Moana 2. It was on airplanes. They had an immersive.
I saw a Ono Hawaiian barbecue. That barbecue chain
Hawaiian barbecue
doing integration. I love Ono.
They had an integration. They had a drone show over the Thames. They had projection mapping off the cliffs of Capri in Italy. They had an immersive 3D LED tunnel 360-degree gallery in Florence, and they had a big digital splash around Koreans' Shinsegae department store.
Wow.
Mall of America.
Wow, yes.
Like, they went ham in every way, shape, and form to make this the hit, and now they have $1 billion earner. Wow. Disney's third $1 billion earner of the year.
And it's already up as of today, it's already up to 423 million worldwide going into its second weekend. So it is already the 9th biggest movie of the year, and we're in December. It's the 9th biggest movie of the year going into its second weekend. It is.
That's so crazy.
So the question now is, will it can it go the distance and become the biggest movie of the year?
Why not?
It's on track to now.
Yeah.
But the thing that you remember about Inside Out 2, because Deadpool and Wolverine started out bigger than Inside Out 2 started. The thing that was so unique about Inside Out 2 was like the longevity of its run.
Did Inside Out 2 crush internationally in a way that Moana 2 is crushing in a different way? Like, internationally, it looks like Moana 2 brought in basically what it brought in domestically, like a ton.
Inside Out 2 is the only movie of the year to make $1 billion in foreign markets, in international markets. So it crushed internationally. Moana 2, though, is off to a great start. I mean, look, it's off to a great start. But the thing that is set Inside Out 2 apart this year was just that longevity, where, like, you remember when, months ago when, like, it's 6 week and it's still making tons of money. We're like, what the hell is going on here?
I guess it could beat it because A, all the marketing, B, it's the most popular thing Disney has, and B, it's the biggest opening weekend ever, and C, people liked it, and then F, it's Christmas time. Like, it's just going to go for 5 weeks of movie.
Make your call right here then. Make your call.
My call is Moana 2 is going to be the number one movie of the year.
My call is that, to my chagrin, it is not going to quite beat out Inside Out 2, which just maintained such consistency over such a long time that it's at 1.6 billion worldwide. That is a high bar for Moana 2 to reach. I think it won't quite get there, but it'll come in at number 2 on the year, beating out Deadpool and Wolverine.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But not only look, you don't break the Thanksgiving weekend record with one movie, even a movie as big as Moana 2. Wicked did $118 million for the 5-day weekend, which is, I know it's a 5-day weekend, but that's higher than their opening weekend.
Yeah.
They did a 114 opening weekend, 118 second weekend, and so it's up to $373 million worldwide. It's already the 12th biggest movie of the year, and this is the one that I think has. I don't think this is going to be able to, get into the top 1 or 2, but this is the movie that I think is going to have an old school, old-fashioned, like long theatrical run, because it's getting growing Oscars buzz, like big time Oscars buzz, big time Best Picture buzz right now. That's going to extend its run. It has the sing-along screenings coming out around the holidays. I wouldn't be surprised if they expand those screenings to more theaters. It's going to have a into January run in theaters.
It's doing great. It's a home run. The problem Wicked 2 has is that its international figures are light. That's the only thing that Wicked hasn't even made 100 million internationally yet. Like, it's just a little light, and it's because Wicked's been here for 20 years and in England, and it's been part of our thing, but it's just that brand, that musical hasn't become like a worldwide phenomenon. That being said, on December 6th, in 2 days or a day, China, Wicked will open in China. So, that's going to do a bunch of money there. Who knows? But these are nitpicks. It's a hit. It's a massive hit, and it's probably going to be one of the top 10 movies of the year.
We'll see, because I was reading an article about how China has been light on domestic tentpole hits this year. Usually you see in the past couple of years, you'll see a movie from China in the top 10 of the worldwide box office, or at least top 15. There's nothing, anywhere this year. I was reading an article about how it's just sort of a down year for, I don't know, the production cycles and whatever. America has years like that too. So I don't know. They might be itching for a big phenomenon, a big sort of movie, a big phenomenon. Maybe they'll adopt it. Maybe they'll discover it. I don't know. But I mean, obviously that market, the China market is huge.
So it's just going to add a lot of money.
The fate of your worldwide numbers.
Correct.
Yes. So we'll see. But it's already the 12th biggest movie of the year after 2 weekends. So it has a lot left in front of it. And then Gladiator 2, kind of the forgotten one in this trio, is still doing great. It did 31 million domestic in its second weekend. That's what Furiosa did opening weekend. So it's like it's doing that second weekend. That's really strong for an R-rated action movie. It's up to 325 million worldwide.
It's crushing.
16th biggest movie of the year already. But still a long ways away from profit thanks to that 250 million production budget.
It's going to enjoy a nice long holiday tail like the other films, and it's going to do gangbusters on VOD. And because of the amount of money it earned in theatrical, it's going to get a nice big fat upfront rate when it switches to VOD. It's going to make its money back, but that 250 budget is kneecapping its profit, no doubt about that. Before we move on from box office, Brett, I just got to say, we always talk about how 2019 was the year of years, and now we're on the slow crawl back from COVID. And it's true, every year the box office seemingly is returning slightly more to pre-COVID numbers. But listen to this weekend, this Thanksgiving frame means that since 2021, the biggest opening weekends ever for these holidays have all happened post-COVID.
Yeah.
Easter, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and Thanksgiving, all beaten post-COVID.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, let's make a fucking movie.
Yes, yeah. No, the prognosis of this year's box office is going to end up being very positive, despite the Joker debacle and the sort of down October. The box office is back in such a big way, and this year is ultimately going to be, I think, thought of as a success in terms of, and financially, in terms of the future of the movies, the future of theatrical releases. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, Disney's going to crush at the box office with the top 3 movies. They're going to make just an insane amount of profit. They're going to have $3 billion movies, and they are the ones out of all the studios who really recommitted to wide theatrical releases and all that goes along with that. The marketing, like you said, with Moana 2. So I would not be surprised if more studios follow that model. Warner Brothers,
the
etc.
most people ever, went to AMC this week for what I'm trying to communicate is movies aren't dead.
No,
and I'm excited about that.
And Barbenheimer was not some sort of anomaly. It was not like the last gasp before the end. It was the beginning of a new cycle, which is what we see throughout the history of Hollywood. Is lulls. Everybody's like, oh no, the movie's over, and then nope. There's a new hit, and suddenly the cycle restarts itself.
One more fact for the movies are back fans. Here is from Matt Bellany in his newsletter this week. He said this, let's put this wild weekend at the box office in terms Netflix can understand. Nearly 30 million people saw Moana 2, Wicked, or Gladiator in the U.S. and Canada, okay? Multiply that by the average runtime of the films, 136 minutes, and that's 4.1 billion minutes watched. Compare that to the top 3 English language films on Netflix for the full week of November 18th through 24th. The Merry Gentlemen, Hot, Frosty, and Spellbound. Never even fucking heard of them. Together, they delivered a 3.39 billion minutes watched. So an average 1.1 billion minutes. That's a quarter less than was watched in theaters over the same 5-day stretch. Wow. A quarter of the audience of Netflix put out 3 movies. Of course, they're much cheaper than the movies in the movie theater, but still. Netflix put out 3 big movies, The Merry Gentlemen, Hot, Frosty, and Spellbound.
Merry Gentleman's the one where Chad Michael Murray takes his shirt off. That's been
and Spellbound's the one that's for kids. And that's like the Moana 2. And those movies came out the same exact 10-day stretch. They have no cultural cachet and were watched from a minutes perspective, which is how Netflix garners value. A quarter of the value of those movies.
That's great reporting. That's great. That's great work with the numbers. I'd also like to point out on this similar line of theatrical versus streaming, the Juror Number 2 debacle continues. Juror Number 2, Clint Eastwood's latest film, perhaps maybe his last or one of his last movies. Got this very brief theatrical release by Warner Brothers, put it out in 40 theaters for a couple weekends or something. It was nothing. They didn't really do a full 4-year consideration campaign for it, which would be normal for an Eastwood movie. And now they've just dumped it on streaming. Well, turns out that Juror Number 2 premiered at number 1 on VOD, number 1 on iTunes. And IndieWire's Tom Brugman pointed out, number 1 for a film, because one reaction might be like, oh, okay, it's just a movie that was made for streaming. But no, IndieWire's Tom Brugman made this good point. Number 1 for a film that played at most in only 1 theater in the cities it played in and without any ads, that's unheard of. This has to be seen as further evidence that Warner Brothers failed to grasp the inherent interest in this movie and in this project. And what's even more confusing and confounding in terms of Warner Brothers, distribution of this movie is that Juror Number 2 is going to be available to stream for free on Max in 2 weeks. So they're not even maximizing the VOD window, and they're just dumping it on Max. This was such a thoroughly botched distribution of this movie. And then on X, Empire City BO, who I'd highly recommend as I don't know who they are, they're anonymous, but just an incredible industry insider who is rarely wrong about stuff and has a lot of great insights, says, and just is opinionated and fun, WB has become the dumbest studio in Hollywood not named Lionsgate. What a colossal screw up. They left at least $100 million on the table by not doing a proper theatrical release for this movie. And I think that's credible based on how popular it's been on VOD. They probably left a minimum of $100 million on the table by not doing a full theatrical release of the latest Clint Eastwood movie starring Nicholas Hoult.
Hindsight is 20/20. Easy to play Monday morning quarterback on this decision now. Somebody pull up the last 12 fucking Clint Eastwood movies. What did The Mule make? What did Trouble with the Fucking Curve make? What did Jersey Boys make? What did all those movies make? I'm sure there's what did Richard Jewell make? I'm sure there's a hit here and there. But this movie was put into production for streaming. Clint agreed. That's how they got the money to finance the fucking picture. Now, if you're going to criticize Warner Brothers for taking their eye off of the ball when it comes to theatrical distribution, unlike Alan Bergman and the folks over at Disney, well, you're right. But I think it's funny to defend Warner Brothers when it comes to Juror Number 2, so I'm doing it again.
The Mule made $175 million at the box office.
You morons! You fucking morons! You had a winner on your grasps, and look at what you've done. You fucking offended one of the greats. You kicked yourself in the butt financially, and now you look like a stunad with egg all over your face. How dare you? How dare you?
Got it. He thought that the whole
time.
How
dare you?
Let's talk some movie news, Joe. And this week, the movie news is all about award season kicking off because we've got the Gotham Awards happened. The National Board of Review released their picks for Best of the Year. New York Film Critics Circle released their picks. Independent Spirit Awards, the most fun ceremony of them all, released their nominations today. And then coming up later this month, we've got Los Angeles Film Critics Circle will be doing awards this weekend. Golden Globe nominations come out next week.
What?
On the 9th.
Woo-hoo!
Yes. And then on the 12th, Critics' Choice Award nominations. So we're into it. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. So let's go through some of these awards that have already been handed out, nominations that have already happened, and check the vibes. We've done our power rankings, which I have right here. We might need to adjust some of these. But let's go through and see what's happening. So the Gotham Awards kicked off award season on Monday. The Gotham Awards are like that town in New Hampshire that votes before anyone else. You know, it doesn't really matter.
Gulch.
It's essentially symbolic, but they're giving out awards,
Notch.
and we love awards and movies, so it's fun.
Gophers Notch.
And they can give, what is it called?
I forget. Something Notch.
Right, yeah, something like that.
Dixville Notch.
Dixville Notch, look at you.
Yeah.
It's also, I love the Gotham Awards though, because like I think knowing their status is sort of, you know, on one of the smaller, they have fun with the awards. They give out some fun awards that maybe are not going to happen. You know, some of the bigger ones. Yeah, I love it. So for best movie, they gave it to A Different Man. Aaron Schimberg's A Different Man with Sebastian Stan, which I loved. I thought was very good. Beat out Nora, Baby Girl, Challengers, and Nickel Boys.
Nice.
So congrats to A Different Man.
They won the Gotham Award?
Gotham Award
That's
for
awesome.
best movie.
That's awesome.
Sing Sing swept the main performance categories. Coleman Domingo getting outstanding lead performance, and Clarence Macklin getting outstanding supporting performance. Yes, you were right about Macklin. This is something that's a little controversial, though, is that Gotham Awards and somebody else are doing non-gendered performance categories now. Which is great and just inevitable and
just 5 out of 5 guys.
Well, it was
really
all the Gotham, because it was also breakthrough performer was Brandon Wilson from Nickel Boys, so they didn't. It was like
they combined the genders and then
so it's non-gender
there's all
awards,
guys.
but it was all male identifying winners.
That's very funny.
But look, some very deserving winners, and you know, I think it is a step in the right direction doing that.
Never try to do anything good.
Right,
Don't you get that?
Best director, Rarnell Ross for Nickel Boys.
Really?
Best
good. I telling you, that Nickel Boys.
Best international feature, and we'll see this a couple times, All We Imagine Is Light, got a couple awards already for that. And similarly, best documentary, the one about the West Bank, No Other Land, is like sweeping
Apparently
right now.
that's like the movie of the year.
No Other Land is probably going to be like unanimous best documentary.
When we get our hands on it, we're going to watch it. We're going to like cry, and then we're going to call it the #1 best movie of the year.
And similarly, international right now is like all these early awards. It's All We Imagine Is Light, which is from India.
Yeah, that was huge at Cannes when that people loved that movie.
Yes, and then also the one we really want to see,
Sacred Fig.
Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is Germany's submission for best international movie.
But of course, made by the Iranian
Thank you very much.
Very
Thank
interesting.
You very much. Yes,
but Germany had to distribute it because he got kicked out of Iran in the middle of making it for like the 18th time.
Yes, you told us this story.
Yeah. It's an amazing story.
It's an amazing story.
We'll talk about it again when we watch the film.
Now, let's see. What else? Gotham Awards gave Best Screenplay to His Three Daughters, which I like because, again, another movie that is great but is probably going to get ignored by a lot of the bigger award ceremonies. Breakthrough Director Vera Drew for The People's Joker. Cool. She's also nominated for an International Spirit Award, maybe like the Cassavetes Award or something like that, one of those like low-budget awards they give out.
Cool.
So Gotham Awards, some fun stuff in there. I like it a lot. I think the one, obviously Different Man is going to sort of, this will probably be its only Best Picture win out of the award ceremonies, I would think. It's just sort of a, you know, not many people saw it, and I mean, for me, it wasn't a perfect movie. It had kind of a rough, third act. But
for smaller movies that are like close but no cigaring the Oscar conversation, these little early wins and little early noms are important. I don't know. We'll see what Different Man gets on these next couple of ones, but you have Independent Spirit there, those noms and stuff?
I do.
Was that appearing?
I do. So let's look at
what's like the difference between the Gotham and the Independent Spirit.
Let's look at Independent Spirit. So Independent Spirit, it's just nominations, not awards yet. But for nominations, Best Feature, we've got Nora, I Saw the TV Glow, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, and The Substance.
Very cool. Very hip.
Very cool. And then Nora and I Saw the TV Glow led all nominees with 6 nominations apiece. So those were the big nominations. Were James Schoenbrun's I Saw
Nora
the TV Glow.
is way better than I Saw the TV Glow.
It is,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
But the thing about I Saw the TV Glow, because looking down through the independent spirits, the big takeaway for me was I Saw the TV Glow got 6 nominations. Julio Torres' Problemista got several nominations. Jesse Eisenberg's A Real Pain got several nominations. What do all these things have in common? They are produced by Emma Stone's production company, Fruit Tree. Wow. Emma Stone is about to the theme of the Independent Spirit Awards this year, whether they acknowledge it or not, is the ascendance of Emma Stone as a producer, as like a mega indie producer.
We love. You've been saying
she's about to roll up in there. She's about to be the.
She's going to be who's like. Harvey Weinstein. Was that what you were going to say?
3 names came to mind, and all of them were just like shameful comparisons because producers are historically trash. But Emma Stone, you have an opportunity. Let's do it, baby. Oh, Christine Vachon. You're going to walk up in there like Christine fucking Vachon, and you're going to run the Spirit Awards this year, and I love that for you and your husband.
And the Oscars.
Carey. And the why not?
Why not?
Why not? A Real Pain. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, Yeah, A Real Pain
in the future.
And in the future.
But first, you got to conquer the Spirit Awards.
First,
you conquer the Oscars.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like she conquered.
First, you got to go to a tent in Santa Monica before you go to the Chandler Pavilion or wherever the hell they do the Oscars.
Produced all nominated. That's incredible.
It's honestly stunning.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. And all those movies are great.
So watch out for Fruit Tree in the league of your IFCs, your Neons. Like it's an ascendant. It's an ascendant indie brand imprint. And Emma Stone's got a bankroll, baby.
Wow.
Anytime she wants, you can knock out a,
It's hard. It's hard to be Neon.
6-episode Disney Plus show tomorrow. Finance 3 more indies.
She's Cruella.
Emma, it's on you now.
Cruella too.
It's on you. Acting is boring. You know what's fun?
Did too.
Fucking magnate, baby. Be a magnate.
She's well on her way.
So what else independent spirit wise?
Any surprises? What's the word?
You know what I love seeing here? Because we see all these, Oscar buzz, Oscar power rankings, and I'm always like, what about these 5 movies I love that are just forgotten? You know what independent spirit remembered? Yeah. Janet Planet, baby. Oh. Janet Planet's got some. That is 2 nominees here: Best First Feature and then Best Screenplay.
Wait, great point.
Yes,
I haven't heard Janet Planet said once in any of these conversations. Janet Planet is easily a contention for top 10 best movies of the year.
Can you imagine having to go up against Annie Baker in the best first screenplay category? No. I'd be like, not fair. She needs to go into
this isn't her first
script.
It's
her first screenplay.
She's the world's greatest living playwright.
Yeah, she needs to be in the best screenplay category.
Who else was nominated for that? First screenplay.
First screenplay is Julio for Problemista, Sean Wang for Dee Dee. Dee Dee gets some noms here, which I really liked. I love Dee Dee. India Donaldson for Good One, which I haven't seen, and Joanna Arno for the feeling that the time for doing something has passed, which I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Now, Independent Spirit is also doing the non-gendered performance category, which...
How'd that go?
Well, here's the problem, is it becomes so crowded.
Is it 10 noms?
Yes.
So it's just 10?
It's how do you pick?
It's 10 non-gendered, so it could be 8 guys.
Look at
That's a bad idea,
I know.
Right? We gotta fix. I hear you. I get you. I love that. We have to fix because you got to nominate.
This is how sports goes. Is they change a bad rule, but they don't think about some of the consequences, and they have to change it again. So we're in this.
We're halfway there. We're halfway there. We're gonna figure this out.
But look at this best lead performance category. Amy Adams for Night Bitch, which we're watching this week. Ryan Destiny for The Fire Inside, which I haven't seen. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Keith Kupfer for Ghostlight, which also got a lot of noms. Mikey Madison. Demi Moore. Hunter Schafer for Cuckoo. Justice Smith, I Saw the TV Glow. June Squibb, Thelma. Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice.
Sorry, what the fuck is this? Is this best actor? What the fuck is this?
Best lead performance. How do you choose between...
First of all, those are hard. First of all, those noms are crazy. Those noms are stupid, first of all. What is that? Say some of those again?
Okay.
I hate this.
Yeah, it's not great.
What the fuck is this?
Amy is an Independent Spirit.
Amy Adams. No. I didn't see the movie yet. Okay, next.
Coleman Domingo.
Yes. Okay, whatever. We're not going to go through them all. But that's a crazy...
It's a crazy list.
That's so fun. So how many women
But it's also a lot of...
How many women are on the list? 3?
I mean, I don't
Does
know
one
what
person
everyone
win?
identifies. Let's see. June Squibb... I mean, it's half. It's...
Whatever.
I'm sure they try to keep it roughly
Does
half
one
and
person
half.
win? Best lead performance of the year? Or do 2 people win and 2 guys win?
No, I think just one person wins.
One person wins.
Performance.
Maybe that's great. I don't know.
I don't know how you would choose, but this is so mad. It's such
I don't know.
Crowded.
I know that there are
but how do you do that?
At the Tony Awards this year, Colascola, who's non-binary, they were nominated for Best Actor, but something about like they decided to be part of that category or something. Like it's not good there either. Like I don't know, Brett. I'm not going to solve this one, but it has to be solved. But I just feel like
the solution is
I feel like putting it all together that's just tough.
Maybe the solution is there are 5 nominees like normal, and you just got to make some choices.
That's what I'm thinking.
But man, that is
I don't know
really narrows it down.
I don't know what you do.
You eventually are going to narrow it down to a winner anyway. So why not narrow the nominees down to 5?
Look, we're not going to crack this code, man.
Who would you choose from that best lead performance category?
Gene Squibb for fucking whatever. What was that movie called? Stinker?
Thelma.
What?
Sebastian Stan's on here. You would pick Sebastian Stan.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I like Sebastian
Mikey,
Stan.
Madison, Coleman
Mikey.
Domingo. It's going to probably be Mikey or Coleman Domingo. Yeah.
I'd pick Mikey.
Or because it's the Independent Spirit Awards, they give it to me, and the house goes crazy.
That'd be so cool.
Tent flies away into the sea.
I love that. I hope that happens.
Yeah.
I have no reason for that not to.
All right, let's see some other fun stuff going on here. The New York. Okay, so the New York Film Critics Circle. Now this is very interesting because this has like Oscar, Oscar consequences to it. Because when you look at the New York Film Critics Circle's Best Picture winners from this decade, First Cow, Drive My Car, Tar, Killers of the Flower Moon. If you win Best Picture at the New York Critic Film Circle Award, A, they were right, and B, you're not winning Best Picture at the Oscars. Right. It seems like they pick, if they pick you, it means you are a little too on the art house side, and you're not going to like clear the bar to win a Best Picture.
Can you go through those movies one more time? Those movies are awesome.
First Cow, Drive My Car, Tar, Killers of the Flower Moon. So like,
perfect. Right.
Yeah, it's like 2 things. Like, correct.
Yeah.
You're not winning an Oscar.
No.
And guess which movie, actually guess which movie won New York Film Critics Circle Best Picture. Out of it, and it's on our power rankings. It's a top candidate.
Not September 5.
No, just maybe a little.
Brutalist.
Yes, yeah. Brutalist won Best Picture. Adrian Brody Best Actor.
Yeah, that's gonna be I'm afraid that that's gonna be our movie. I'm afraid
we're gonna. Brutalist is gonna enter the category of First Cow, Drive My Car, Tar, Killers of the Flower Moon. Nothing has ever been truer. That Brutalist will be in that category. It will not be Best Picture winner.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right.
We'll have to see. Brutalist just seems like a Best Picture winner by its scope and its
I think it seems like a New York Film Critics Circle Best Picture award winner. They also picked Ramel Ross for Best Director for Nickel Boys. So there's
I'm telling you because it's first person.
Yep.
And apparently it's not ugly or stupid. It's gorgeous and amazing. I think Nickel Boys is going to blow us away as well.
And then they had Marianne Jean-Baptiste from Mike Lee's Hard Truths as their Best Actress. A lot of Hard Truths representation here, which is just
apparently
painful
the acting is amazing.
Show it to us then.
We want to see these movies.
We can't fucking see it till January. I'm sure it's great. They also gave Best First Movie to Janet Planet, Annie Baker. So Janet Planet's getting some real attention
because that movie is legitimately
it's so good,
excellent.
I just didn't know until now if it was like recognized, as such, but I think it is. I think people, understand how good it is. Now, let's quickly talk about National Board of Review because the one movie that is getting tons of Best Picture buzz lately over the last week that we have not mentioned yet in these hip art house awards is Wicked. Yeah. And the National Board of Review did not forget about Wicked. It gave Wicked Best Film and it gave John Chu Best Director.
You're fucking me.
Now, before you say what a load of shit, they also gave Daniel Craig Best Actor for Queer. They gave Nicole Kidman Best Actress for Baby Girl, Kieran Culkin Best Supporting Actor for Real Pain, and Elle Fanning Best Supporting for A Complete Unknown. And when I look at that list, I'm like, those might be the Oscar winners right there. That has, out of all the award ceremonies, that one has Oscar winners written all over it.
Look, good point. Interesting take. I hear you. I think Wicked should be nominated for Best Picture. I stand Wicked. Wicked's not going to win Best Picture, right?
Think about what the Oscars are. Think about how the Oscars work.
Even the Oscars don't.
They work on momentum and they work on cultural cachet and discourse. It has almost nothing to do with the quality of the movie.
Of course not. But I just... What won Best Picture last year? Do we even know?
Fuck, Oppenheimer.
Doesn't matter. Oh, Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Bad example.
Yeah. Right.
Would have been nice if it was the
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
We'll see, Brett. I don't know.
Look, I will say though,
I do not know.
All the articles are coming out now, and look, this is just part of the game. Because Wicked's PR team is putting them out. But like the articles are coming out. Could because as soon as you ask the question, could Wicked win Best Picture? Yeah. Then suddenly people are like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I can see Wicked as a Best Picture winner.
Whatever the marketing folks over at Neon are doing for Nora is really good because their For Your Consideration campaign is so industry focused. And I see it across all types of media for like industry-centric sort of like niche-er like programs, media, podcasts, newspapers, variety at all. And it has a lot of like that buzz, and it has Mikey's going to win Best Actress. Like, I'm not saying it's my favorite movie of the year. I'm just like, Nora is going to be such a contender.
Here's the only problem. Because for the National Board of Review, which out of all these does seem to be the most sort of Oscar predictive, Mikey Madison won an award. But she won an award that might not be a good sign for her chances, which is she won Breakthrough Performance of the Year. She did not win Best Actress, which went to Nicole Kidman. She won Breakthrough Performance. Now, the Oscar doesn't have a Breakthrough
Nicole
Performance
made some calls.
Category.
Nicole's like, oh, you're going to give it to Mikey. Nice.
My question is, much like Emma Stone controversially beat Lily Gladstone last year, the Oscars rewards, not that there aren't breakthrough performances that get in and win awards, but
no, Brett, it's always
the Oscars.
It's always the 27-year-old up and coming / the most famous young hot thing in the world.
I just don't know if Mikey Madison is there yet.
Yeah, well,
she's not.
This is
supposed
to be her
Jennifer
thing.
Lawrence or Emma Stone. What's my thing?
No, sorry. This is supposed to be her moment. Bummer.
It might be the moment before the moment.
Slip through.
It might be the moment before
the moment.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm getting stressed out for her and the whole team.
Look, she deserves it. Their team is doing a great job.
We haven't seen Baby Girl yet. Maybe the Kidman is just electric. She is Nicole Kidman.
Yes. But again, it does. That's just our review, though. It doesn't. Quality of the performances doesn't really matter here. But seeing National Board Review give Mikey Madison Breakthrough Performance implies a certain sort of infantilization of her performance that might not bode well for the. And we're just talking about industry and business now. I think this is all bullshit. I think she should win the award walking away. But reading the tea leaves here, I don't know. So let's quickly adjust our power rankings if we have to. The one thing is I think we got to add Ramel Ross to the Best Director.
Thank you.
Yes, you said I would
take Corley off because we put Corley Farragut, Director of The Substance.
You
would Jacques off there.
No.
Who? Ridley.
I think Ridley might be in trouble.
I only know that Brady Corbett and Sean Baker are going to get nominated. That's all I know.
You know who,
why would Ridley 2 get nominated for Ridley Scott get nominated for Gladiator 2?
I was reading
why would besides I love the guy.
Here's the thing. I was reading because there was that story this week about how his longtime cinematographer called him lazy.
Yes. Which
ended up just sort of being a joke, and the guy was like, I was joking. I've worked with him since the first Gladiator. But then I kind of went down a little rabbit hole. During the press tour, Paul Mescal, Pedro Pascal, these actors have nicely hinted at how sort of irascible Ridley is. Because irascibility is fun when you're reading anecdotes in a book about an irascible old William Friedkin or whatever. I'm sure it's a pain in the fucking ass to deal with an irascible old man directing
The Bull's 89 years old.
Yes,
is it 87, 89? What's the difference? He's in his late 80s. Is that true? Am I saying real things?
I don't know. Look it up. I'm going to keep telling you some stories here. And then I found this poll where before Napoleon came out, they polled directors. They did a director's poll. Give us your rank your favorite Ridley Scott movies of all time, and we're going to do a director's poll of best Ridley Scott movies for the Napoleon release. And apparently there was all these snarky comments on the ballots of Alien and Blade Runner masterpieces, but after that, who cares? I don't think he's made 5 great movies. There was a lot of snarky comments, and I was like, are people bitchy about Ridley behind the scenes? Is Ridley sort of
he's a cantankerous.
Yeah. But gentleman. Do people is there sort of an antagonism towards Ridley behind the scenes that might? So anyway, that plus but the more pertinent thing is Ridley Scott and Gladiator are nowhere in these early award ceremonies.
Why would they be?
Nowhere.
We love the movie, but let's be real.
So then why would he be in our power rankings then?
Go back and listen. I don't know. You must have made a very strong case.
I think a lot of the push for Ridley to win Best Director was before Gladiator 2 came out. And we loved it. but
Yeah,
it is
great.
not the
It's not
sort
gonna
of
win
like
the-
shimmering masterpiece that the first movie is.
Dude, all three of these folks on our power rankings are all suspect to me. Ridley Scott, Jacques Audiard, and Corey
I think
Farragut.
Ridley drops off, and I think Ramel Ross goes to 3.
Do it.
All right,
I love that. Thank you.
look at this.
And now we're going to have to start thinking about Nickel Boys going in our top 10 Best Picture eventually. But I don't know if we're there today, but I feel like the Nickel Boys is going to come out. It's going to be very, very good. And we're all going to have to contend with it.
So here's our current director power rankings updated. And this is Oscar power rankings. Who's going to get nominated for Best Director?
Here we have Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, Sean Baker for Inaural, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Corey Farragut for The Substance.
I like that.
I like that. I feel like John Chu has a better chance than Corley. But
Yeah. Should we just go ahead and do
Just
it?
do
You're
it.
right.
Just do
You're
it.
right. You're right. John Chu for Wicked at 5. He's going to get nominated.
Come
we
on.
have to just.
He's gonna get.
We just have to.
This
I mean,
isn't.
you
This
said-
isn't. This is. We have to remove our ego and we just.
I was doing it for your sake because last week you said you'd rather put your hand in a waffle iron than give John Chu Best Director for Wicked.
I still would, but I would rather remember what else I said. I would rather put my head not in a waffle iron than Wicked not be nominated for Best Picture.
Okay, that's getting too complicated for me.
Yep.
So, last but not least, let's look at Best Picture because I think we gotta. I don't want to make any changes to this. I do think Wicked needs to go up a few spots.
Oh, dude, Wicked is
Wicked's at 7 out of 10
Wicked
right
at
now.
3.
Yeah, Wicked's at 3. Wicked's at 3.
Wicked is like kind of a lock
Wicked's at
for
3.
Best Picture.
Yes, Nora the Brutalist, Wicked, and then
They have
Dune
to have
2,
that
Sing
flavor.
Sing, Conclave, September 5th, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, Nosferatu. I mean, you could switch out Nosferatu for Nickel Boys, but Nosferatu's getting
why?
like real fucking
Dude,
good press. I think it's too
98%
early.
on Rotten
I know, I think
Tomatoes.
it's too early.
Fucking raves out of the
too
gate.
early.
Raves for Lily
Embrace the darkness,
Rose,
baby.
raves for Eggers, the whole thing.
All right, so that's where we're at with the awards. We'll check in with this moving forward. We'll have Globes nominations by this time next week. We're back to Thursday next week too for the live stream, so we'll definitely have the Globes nominations, and we'll dig into those. But let's get into this week's new releases, baby. Moana 2, which we didn't see, sorry, and The Piano Lesson. And while we do try to avoid any major plot spoilers in our reviews, it is impossible to give an honest review of these stinking movies without talking about them in their entirety. And so if we're reviewing a movie that you don't want spoiled in the least, not even a little bit, we recommend that you play it safe and put us on mute. Rejoin us when we move on to the next movie. If you're watching the video, just look at the lower third. That'll tell you what movie you're reviewing.
No spoilers for the 50-year-old play.
If you're listening along... It does have some spoilers, though.
It actually does, because the ending is
suspenseful and supernatural. We'll
Sure.
talk about that. And I put the time codes in as well, so you can follow along that way. Now, Moana 2, really quickly, is the sequel to Moana, the second installment in the Moana franchise. They've already announced there's going to be a third one. Of course, there's also going to be a live-action one. This money train ain't going to stop rolling. Didn't used to be Disney's model, though. You know, the sequels used to go straight to videos we've talked about, but now they've seen the light on that, and they're just going to keep this Moana money train rolling as far and as long as it can go. The film was directed by David Derrick Jr., Jason Hand, and Dana Ledoux Miller in their collective feature directorial debuts, so congrats to them on having the biggest animated movie of all time. Produced by Christina Chen and Yvette Marino from a screenplay by Jared Bush and Dana Ledoux Miller. Lots of great voice actors, most notably Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You can check the IMDb for all that. And sorry, we did not see Moana 2. I'm sorry. We're the only ones who didn't see it. It was Thanksgiving weekend. We were both battling colds, so we couldn't make it. I'm very sorry. But what do you want us to... You don't want a review on Moana 2?
Oh, it was good, but I think I'm not a kid, so it was bad.
Here's what it has a 63% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the consensus is pretty good, not as good as the original.
Yeah,
but
music's good, not as good as the
Yeah.
Lin-Manuel
Yeah.
stuff, and it's fine, and you can kind of tell it used to be a TV show, but NBD, and it's Moana 2, and it was
Moana
great.
2. Are you looking for a kids movie or an animated movie this holiday season? I'm sure it's a great choice.
Are you a child? Check out Moana 2.
I congratulate Bob Iger and the Disney team on another box office smash. Now, a movie we did watch, a movie we did see, is The Piano Lesson. The Piano Lesson, based on the play by August Wilson, as Joe pointed out. Now, this is part of Denzel Washington's master plan to do all of the entire Pittsburgh cycle of August Wilson plays, which is 10 plays.
Yeah.
Now he's already done Fences and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and now his sons, Malcolm Washington, who directed it, and then John David Washington, who's starring in it, are keeping his dream going. So he's got 3 out of 10 done.
Yeah, and he the three good ones.
Started with the 3 good ones.
The 3 famous ones. King Hedley's good.
Famous ones, yes.
But some of Gem of the Ocean, like, they're not going to get around the Gem of the Ocean. We'll see.
We got an August Wilson head in the room.
Yeah.
I love it. I respect it. Yeah. It's good to have someone who knows what they're talking about. Yeah. I had never seen a production of The Piano Lesson before watching this movie. So I was very, very excited to get into it.
What did you think of The Piano Lesson?
So really quickly, it's set in 1936 Pittsburgh during the Great Depression, and it follows the lives of the Charles family around this heirloom, this old piano that's intricately carved with the faces of their family members and ancestors and the stories of their family, and it turns out there's a backstory involving slavery and violence and cruelty, and there's supernatural elements, and it's also sort of a kitchen sink drama for a lot of it. It's got a lot going on. It's a hell of a play, if you needed me to say that. Now the movie adaptation, once again directed by Malcolm Washington. I liked this movie overall. I thought it definitely took a second to kind of find its footing, and part of that was it felt a little clunkily directed in the first 10 minutes or so, as though it really wanted to like make this a movie and not sort of like earn it as a movie before it got into the big play passages. And the opening sequences in particular felt kind of like rushed and overdone and like aspiring for virtuosity, but in practice they look like cutscenes from a History Channel documentary, at kind of quality. Dang. And so the first 10 minutes, I thought were kind of a waste and probably just caught a gone. But as soon as we get into and you feel it, there's a moment like where a couple of the main characters, Samuel L. Jackson, who's great in this, John David Washington, a couple of the main characters are like hanging out at night and like drinking and reminiscing, and then you suddenly are like, oh, this is probably like the first like full scene from the play, because now I feel like I'm in the movie, I'm in the world of the movie, the dialogue is fucking popping. I just feel like it sort of kneecaps itself by, you're adapting a play. Guess what that means? Your script is going to be fucking amazing, better than anything anyone else in Hollywood could write. You have August Wilson written dialogue. Use it, baby. Use your strengths. But it feels like the kind of insecurities of a first-time director really trying to make it cinematic immediately, and the movie's a little impatient in those first 10 minutes and can't pull off its own sort of aspirations to virtuosity. But once we get into like the play, the movie like kind of abandons that project and just does the play for most of the movie. So I thought once we got into the play, it really picked up, and just the lines are great, the story's amazing. I thought it was pretty well acted, maybe not sort of expertly acted, but pretty well acted. My only other critique was once we get into the supernatural elements later on, I don't know, you might know more about this, I don't know how those elements are usually presented on stage. I thought for a movie they were presented a little too literally. I think it could have been a little more, I don't know, just, you got light and shadow, and you got things off camera. You got a lot to play with. You got a lot to play with. I thought the supernatural elements were presented a little too poltergeisty for the Piano Lesson. But I did think the performances were really strong, and you just can't beat August Wilson's writing. So a lot of the joys of the movie were just inherited from the play, whereas the attempts to adapt, I think, mostly went awry. But it's still August Wilson's The Piano Lesson done well. And I would recommend seeing it.
I liked The Piano Lesson too. I thought it was a really good adaptation of the play. Brett, you nailed it. One of my least favorite things that movies based on plays do is like, oh, well, it's a movie, so we got to take them outside of the house and show what walking around is like without any line. And The Piano Lesson does this, where it's like, scene's done, now we're going to go to the next scene. Let's just have like a interstitial with a little music to show a little moving around town. Why?
Yeah.
Fucking why? It adds nothing. It didn't add
what's in Hedda Gabler's backyard?
Who fucking
Question
cares?
I've always wondered.
Then also your point about the horror. It was also sort of like, oh, this movie is now a movie and it's on Netflix and people gotta like it and it's old, so people are gonna think it's boring. So we're gonna increase the spiritual or the what's the word? Fucking supernatural elements. We're gonna horrify them, which was so weird. At the end, it's like you see like the ghosts, and then they like essentially go boo. And it's just that's not what the vibe of any production of this play I've ever seen has ever been. It's supposed to be like magic,
right?
Not like horror. I mean, on one hand, there's of course it also lends itself to horror. It's the ghost of their slave owning family from the past, of course it's horrifying, and that's what the whole play's about, is how much the generational trauma is like weighing on this family, and they've put it all in this piano, this gorgeous like symbol, monolithic symbol. But at the end of the piano lesson, the play, how Bernice is like screaming at the piano. That's what happens at the end of the play, and the whole house shakes and everything breaks and it all falls down. And the lights are flashing and there's ghosts. But then it like ends sort of ambiguously. But in the movie, there's like a weird resolution where it all like works out for Boy Willie. It's like, what? John David Washington played Boy Willie in this movie. I just like 2 weeks ago was like, I like John David Washington, but he's always like doing cool guy thing,
Tenet,
even in Black Klansman. And I love him in Tenet, and I love him in Black Klansman. I think he's a cool freaking guy. I didn't know he could do a Boy Willie. So Boy Willie is like the talkative, energetic member of the family who wants to sell the piano, and he wants to he's like the young whippersnapper that doesn't get it, right?
We saw extroverted John David Washington for the first time. Yeah.
And Boy Willie is one of the most obnoxious characters in the history of theater, just like going on and on and on and on and on. Like, shut up, Boy Willie. But John David Washington was great. I thought he was really good. Danielle Deadwyler, who we have on our power ranking for Best Supporting Actress, she was excellent.
Just a powerhouse actor.
She was excellent. Who is this? She's fucking great.
Yeah,
like,
powerhouse.
I loved that. She was great. I liked a lot of the different supporting characters. It was like a real who's who of actors. Like Corey Hawkins, shows up as Avery, which was awesome. Erykah Badu showed up in this film for a second.
That's right.
It was like a great cast. Obviously, Samuel Jackson was great. I think that I love this project in theory. Like, it's just like kind of an important thing. Sorry, it's not like I'm the world's biggest August Wilson fan. In fact, I find like his plays can be rather sort of droll. Sometimes they're absolutely gorgeous and brilliant.
Is droll not a good thing?
Not droll, boring.
Dry.
Sometimes they can be dry, but also like it just lives and dies on the strength of the performance. I've seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom be boring. I've seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom be fucking the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. So of course it depends, but I think this was good. I like the project. They should make all 10 of them. They're important American plays, and it's very cool that Denzel's sort of the champion of them.
Very smart too to outsource it to your kids.
I love that. Get the boys involved.
Knock out Fences yourself.
Yeah, I'll do the good
Fences.
one. I'll do Fences, and then Viola. Okay, fine. You can play Ma Rainey, but then the boys can do they can do all can do radio golf. On fucking.
Wait, I want to see radio golf. That's one of them.
That's the '90s one.
Okay,
yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Anyway. Yeah, I liked it. Didn't love. It was good.
Yeah, liked and loved. I would agree with that. Now, before we end this week's episode, I want to shout out a couple streaming movies I watched this week. Because I'm going through for your holiday season, I'm getting caught up on streaming movies, and this is movies that went straight to streaming or had like a very limited theatrical release and then went to streaming. And so I'm gonna give them a yes, no, or maybe. This is for your holiday season if you're sitting at home looking to stream stuff. This week I watched Rebel Ridge and I watched Lee. Rebel Ridge and Lee. I want to talk about.
You watched Lee?
I did.
Okay.
I want to talk about Rebel Ridge first. This is a crime thriller that came out on Netflix back in September. You watch it on Netflix. It is written, produced, directed, and edited by a director I really like, Jeremy Saulnier, the gritty auteur responsible for Blue Ruin and Green Room. Green Room ended up on our top 10 A24 movies of all time. Blue Ruin I love as well. The DP on this was David Gallego, and the movie stars Aaron Pierre. M. Night Shyamalan heads will know him as Midsize Sedan from Old. We also got Don Johnson in this. We got Anna Sophia Robb, David Denman, Roy from The Office. James Cromwell shows up in this. and
Winners,
others.
winners.
The movie is about a former Marine, Aaron Pierre, who is traveling to a courthouse in a small Louisiana town. He's biking there. You just start like in the middle of the thing. You start with him biking, and he's going there to bail out his cousin for a misdemeanor possession charge. But it's very important that he bails him out because his cousin had like a gang thing that went awry. And so if his cousin ends up going to prison before his trial, he's going to get killed in prison by this gang that he wronged or whatever. So it's like high stakes. But on the way to the courthouse, he gets pulled over by these redneck cops, and they seize the cash via civil forfeiture. And so they just steal his money because they have some bullshit about like, they think it might be in drug money. There's like, it's like, and then the Marine, Aaron Pierre, with help from a law clerk, just goes full Rambo on these cops for the next hour and a half to get this money back. And in the process, he uncovers a small town conspiracy that goes way beyond just this one bag of cash. So that's Rebel Ridge. I love Jeremy Saulnier. I cannot believe it took me this long to watch Rebel Ridge. I also love this subgenre of like one person going up against cops and corruption in a small town, and it all happens in real time over the course of a couple days. Think First Blood, In the Heat of the Night. I love this genre. I love the containment of the real time one weekend. I love the containment of the small town. You feel like you can't, it's like, the rules are different. These three guys run everything. There's no recourse beyond them. How is this person going to defeat them? I love the containment of that genre. Add Rebel Ridge to this list. It's a very unique addition to this genre because on the one hand, it's doing more action movie beats and action movie lines than that summary might indicate. Even more action movie beats than First Blood, which is, Rambo doesn't get full action movie until the second one. But on the other hand, it's also way more into a thing that I love. It's way into bureaucracy, baby. It is way into bureaucracy. You'll learn a lot about civil forfeiture, the funding of local police departments, the interplay between the police and the courts, but it's all done like sleekly, fast, quick, like everything. All of that stuff is like embedded in the story. So it's not like, somebody stops to tell you what civil forfeiture is all about. It's like, no, the Marine like needs to know the rules of civil forfeiture because he's trying to like, overturn them. But you get a lot of interesting like, minutia about our government bureaucracy and how fucked up it is. And all the things that the cops can do with really sort of like immunity and without due process. And so there's a lot of interesting stuff along with just some killer like action movie lines and action sequences and fights and stuff. It's Rambo with bureaucracy, baby, basically. Aaron Pierre's great. Anna Sophia Robb also great, doing like a Holly Hunter sort of character. I want to say, by the way, Roy from The Office, out of all the people who have come out of The Office and gone on to other things, TV, podcasts, movies, I think under the radar, I think David Denman,
the best
Roy, this is Pam's like first boyfriend
in the warehouse
before Jim, right? I think David Denman is the best actor to come out of The Office.
Wow.
He's great in Rebel Ridge. He was in Mayor of Easttown. He's great in Mayor of Easttown. Now Rebel Ridge. He's got a lot of other good credits that I'm not familiar with. I think David Denman is the real thing. Best actor to come out of The Office. Not that that's
not
a high
Steve
bar.
Carell?
I'm not counting Carell.
Okay,
like all the like
non-Carell.
The troop. The troop. Out of the troop, I think David Denman's got the best chops. Don Johnson still fucking got it.
That's
big
what I was
time.
going to say.
Big
what do you
time.
mean Don Johnson's in the movie?
Don Johnson's like got it big time.
Okay.
And I was comparing. He has like because you know how like I'm thinking of him like in terms of like Dennis Quaid, Kurt Russell. Like I love Dennis Quaid in The Substance. I love late career Kurt Russell performances. But you know how they get a little loose and a little wild.
Of course.
Like Don Johnson is like controlled in this. Like he has like a controlled, detailed sort of performance that was really exciting to see in like a weathered older actor. Like he really did well in this movie. I liked it a lot. He's basically like the big bad, but he does a lot of like, he lets his words, do the fighting for him. So there's a lot of good back and forth between him and Jason Pierre.
Okay.
James Cromwell doing corrupt Cromwell. Nice. A la LA Confidential, my favorite Cromwell. Fuck nice Cromwell. Give me corrupt Cromwell. And just like a really sick, bruising soundtrack. We know Saulnier likes his like hard music from Green Room. You got the opening song is Iron Maiden's Sign of the Beast. Bad Brains is in this. Great soundtrack. It's not a perfect movie. I think, when they get into the sort of act 3, everything's got to sort of come to a head. The pieces start to click together a little too effortlessly. Not everything feels fully earned, and I think that's the consequence of just having so much plot to resolve, particularly for this kind of a movie. And I wonder if the movie could have been better served with if it just had like a little MacGuffin instead of like this big conspiracy it's uncovering, Because I really
the first time I ever heard of the take be, I wish there was a MacGuffin.
Really, it's so weird because I love conspiracies in movies. I love people uncovering conspiracies, but like there was just so much momentum with just the characters and like the immediate action of the moment.
Like do the raid.
Yeah, just do Right. And I was like, man, I think cut 30 minutes off the runtime, get rid of the conspiracy, and just have
the raid.
Just
do the
and you
action.
have the MacGuffin, it's the cash.
Right.
Like it should have just been the cash as opposed to like, oh, the cash is just the beginning of the story. Why? I like the cash. I like that as the story.
Honey, just do a triple frontier.
Yes. Just do a triple frontier. What do we always say?
Why is this so complicated? Just fucking do a triple frontier.
Don't do a quadruple frontier. Do a triple frontier. But look, that's a small gripe with a good movie that is definitely worth your time. I give Rebel Ridge a yes on my scale of yes, no, or maybe. Particularly, I was going to say, if you have to spend your holiday around some Republican family members, this is a sneaky good pick because on the surface, total dad movie.
Right.
Under the surface, anti-cop exposes police corruption. Could be an interesting choice.
Watch
if
this
you
with your Republican family.
Be in the same room with some Republicans this holiday. Now, Lee.
Yeah, how was Lee?
How was Lee, Joe?
How was Kate?
I'm going to tell you how Lee was. So Lee is the biopic, and this is a big year for World War II journalist, photojournalist Lee Miller, because she's also referenced in Civil War. It's like the thing that Kaylee Spaney and Kirsten Dunst bond over. It's their favorite war photographer journalist. And Lee Miller...
It's just also who Brie Larson's character in Kong Skull Island is based on as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's like no one bothered to find out about any other World War II journalists. It's just Lee Miller.
Yeah.
So Lee Miller was a model and photographer for Vogue, and then when World War II broke out and the Blitz was happening in London, thrust herself into the middle of the action and snapped some of the most amazing pictures from World War II and some of the most traumatic and disturbing pictures from World War II. Like Joe said, this is a big old Kate Winslet award season biopic movie, or at least that's what it was intended as. We also have a great supporting cast here: Marion Cotillard, Andrea Riseborough, Josh O'Connor is in this in the frame narrative, Alexander Skarsgård. And I do want to say before I get into my review that this movie was directed by Ellen Kuras in her feature directorial debut from a script by Liz Hannah, who wrote Spielberg's The Post. But Ellen Kuras is a pretty legendary pioneering cinematographer. She was the DP on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. How about that for your fucking resume? This is the first time she's directing a movie. And also, because I want to put some major caveats before I get into my review. Because A, Ellen Kuras rules, regardless of what I think of Lee. B, Lee took 8 years to make because of like funding going in and out and COVID and all of this. At one point, Kate Winslet, who also produced the movie, had to pay the entire cast's and crew salaries for like 2 weeks. So this was like a long, tortured production of a movie. Okay, so all of that being said,
was it good?
Lee's not good. I did not like it. It's a silly movie, unfortunately.
Silly movie.
It is
not just boring, but silly.
It is. Here's the way it is silly, and the way that I was sort of immediately taken out of the movie in the first act is I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that is more contrived in the way that is like hitting these like stereotypical historical biopic beats. It does it almost as though we're watching like they use like the script with all the placeholders and they forgot to like write the real scenes. Like everything is so stock. It's kind of like, it's just such a bummer. It's like an immediate bummer. There's a frame narrative where old Lee is getting interviewed by a young journalist about her life, and she's this irascible old lady. And then there is this like scene of like a bohemian picnic before the war, and there's a couple women who are topless at the picnic. Oh my God. But then Alexander Skarsgård comes up, and Kate Winslet and Alexander Skarsgård are like, ooh, they're like trading eyes. They're like into each other. But then, and they're like verbally jousting, blah, blah, blah. And Skarsgård does the thing. I'm going to describe this thing, and I'm going to command the filmmakers of the world to never do this scene ever again, because I cannot watch it ever again. He does the thing where he like looks at, having only met her for 5 minutes, he looks at her and like tells her whole life story. I fucking hate that. That is so contrived and stupid. It is so ridiculous. So he's like, let
me guess.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
You were raised. There's the lines. You were raised staunchly middle class. You're used to people getting distracted just by looking at you. You've learned to use that, which makes you clever. This goes on for like 3 minutes. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
She's like, no.
None of that's true.
No.
But of course, in the movie, all of it's true. And they're true lovers and they're soulmates and blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
Stop doing. Look, I'll give you text on screen. If you want to do a tit for tat, I'll let you do text on screen, which I hate.
You despise that.
I don't give it. Don't tell
me
what city this is.
You mean subtitles.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I need to know the name of the movie and the credits. No, I mean like excessive labeling of places when it's unnecessary. I mean excessive quotes before the movie.
Or like the time.
Chapters. Stop with the fucking chapters.
Except
definitely.
Furiosa.
Oh, no, Furiosa can do it. Because Furiosa makes a point of it. It's part of the movie.
Thank you.
Do not, but I'll give you text on screen if you will never, ever, ever again do, let me guess. Upper class, went to a private school, right? Parents were divorced by the time you were 6.
No.
You have six toes on your left foot.
No.
So it's a lot of that.
How's Kate?
It's a lot of corn. All right, look, Kate can't not be great.
She's the best actor of her gen.
Kate's great, but because the script is so mid, she just feels like she's on autopilot. It's like autopilot.
Talk about come and went movie. That movie, I'm surprised you even bothered to like dig it out of the trash.
I know, because that was good of you. It's not getting any nominations. Blah blah blah. I mean, it's clearly like has the packaging of a prestige movie, of a award season movie, but it ain't got the chops to get there. There's also some like I get it. You want to do some Trump analogs around the rise of fascism. No. They are done so heavy-handedly. No. That it just feels like the Trump analogs are done in a way where they're like almost looking at the camera to be like, you get it. You get what we're doing, right?
Remember Donald Trump?
And so what happens is it just feels like rich liberal box checking and not actual political commentary about the thing.
I hate this movie.
Andy Samberg's in it in a dramatic role because my guess is he wouldn't stop telling his agent, I want to be Bill Hader.
Fuck off.
Unfortunately, he's not, and he's out of his depth here. He's concentrating way too hard on his 1940s accent to give an actual performance, but he also, I will say, he also doesn't make any huge mistakes, and he lives to fight another day.
I love Samberg.
Like the British during the Blitz.
I love Samberg.
I give Lee 2 thumbs up for effort and 2 thumbs down for outcome. No, you should not watch Lee this holiday season.
Huh? All right. I won't, but Rebel Ridge sounds good.
Dude,
I'm gonna love that.
Watch Rebel Ridge.
That sounds
tonight.
Fun. That sounds
tonight. It's the kind of movie where
crowd pleaser.
30 seconds in, you're like,
let's go.
Strap me.
Turn it up.
Strap me in.
Wait, pause. Get popcorn. Okay.
No, Wait, this is gonna be. I'm gonna watch this.
This is the one. Here we go.
Yeah. I think that brings us to an end of another Movies Baby. Let's see what we got going on next week. Okay, so here's why I have a big question mark on the marquee for next week. Because, Joe, we have one more full episode to do in 2024. We're going to do it next Thursday, right? Our last episode of the year. And you show me today, it's like, there's like my Lemon Tree, there'll be like a weekend where it just like explodes overnight. Similarly, the theaters of LA have exploded with all of the award season movies in limited release, et cetera, et cetera. All these movies we've been hearing about all year, how good they are. We've been seeing them on all these lists. Suddenly, we can see so many of these movies. So we're going to just get out there and see as many of these damn award season movies as we can. I think the biggest release is Night Bitch, Amy Adams' Night Bitch. So we'll see Night Bitch. We'll also see a bunch of award season movies. We'll pack it in. And so next week, we're going to come back with some quick hitters for your holiday season. How are these award season movies actually? Are they actually good? Are they overhyped?
Can't wait.
We'll tell you. So we're going to watch as many as we can. A lot of the movies we mentioned in tonight's movie news section. And then next week on Bergman's, this is almost tragic. This is like you looking at, what was your Possession versus The Thing?
It was a Possession.
It was versus The Thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a tough one. That's
a
tough one for me too, but really for you.
That's tough.
This one though is going to be very tough. One of my all-time favorite movies. I think there were times where I would have this in like my top 3. Yeah. Now it's probably like top 20. But With Nell and I, the classic cult British comedy starring Richard E. Grant, directed by Bruce Robinson, with Nell and I. Versus. Sorry, I just got I literally was.
You were like sad.
I got lost in a with Nell and
what was
I
that about?
reverie. I was thinking of the times I've seen it. The first time I saw it in college.
Versus
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and the movie I've come back to 100 times, and it's never gotten old or bad.
I have the same experience. Of all the movies I've seen a million times, these are in the top 10.
Yep.
I've seen these movies a million times, and Bill and Ted's was when I was younger, and With Nell and I was when I was a little older. These movies are so good. I can't wait to revisit them. I wonder which one's going to enter the canon and which one's going to enter the trash can, and we can never watch it again. Speaking of which,
yes, we're about to do one of these.
We're about to do a Bergman's.
This is going to be a fun one.
This is the last time that we'll watch either The Little Mermaid, Disney's The Little Mermaid,
yes,
or the manga classic Akira.
So it's Akira versus Little Mermaid, two of the most influential animated movies of the 80s and of all time.
Yeah.
But based on a manga,
yes,
by the director. And we will be deciding this after the break. So what happens now is that this part of the show ends. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then when we come back, we'll be doing Weekend at Bergman's. But it will only be for Patreon subscribers. So if you want to keep the party going, and you know you do, baby, it's still early. Crack open another bottle. Light up another spliff, baby. It's still early. You go over to the Patreon, and while you're there, take a little detour to YouTube, right? As part of Midlife Crisis Fest 8. And sign up for our Patreon. Or subscribe to our YouTube. And then head on over to Patreon, sign up. You can do a 7-day free trial, and join us for tonight, right now, in 10 minutes, Akira vs. Little Mermaid. Only one can survive.
Special guest. You're not going to want to miss it.
And we have a special guest.
You're not going to want to miss it.
Ooh, we're already up to 911 subscribers. It's happening. All right. We'll see you there in 10 minutes. Bye.